Hi, my name is Mark Bernard, and I'm here today to talk about cyber skills. There's a lot of opportunities out there in the workforce, and a lot of people are interested in how to transition from the current employment opportunity into a new opportunity that involves cybersecurity. So today I'm going to go through about a 5-minute slide presentation and give you some ideas on how you can jump into this market. In the cybersecurity business, as you can see, there's a lot of opportunity. The growth, in fact, is going up to from 2014 to 2024 in billions of dollars. You can see it's going to be over $140 billion within just a few years. And the opportunities within enterprise security, endpoint security, cloud security, network security, and application security is huge, especially in the enterprise security area, which is an area that I specialize in. Now in this diagram, you can see that Bloom's taxonomy is a way that we measure skills transfer, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more later. But a lot of people are going into universities and colleges or coming out of high school and jumping into programs where they can learn and pick up new skills that they can apply in the job force to make this transition. Employers are looking for people who have professional grade skills. They're the ones that get paid the most amount of money. So if you have 10 plus years experience in technology or some of the other areas that I'm talking about, we're going to talk about how you can transition those skills into a new cybersecurity opportunity. The three areas that employers are looking for are the amateurs, people who have some knowledge and comprehension, who are coming out of high school. They understand what cybersecurity is, but they may not know how to tackle it. The next level up is practitioner level. And these are the people who have some hands-on experience, who've done some cybersecurity work, or they may be working as an apprentice and getting more experience. And then there's the professional grade, which you can see here is defined by synthesis and evaluation. Now these 6 areas are defined within Bloom's taxonomy. These are how we measure skills and competencies for professionals. And you can see that the salary grades on the bottom are comparable to each of the areas. So entry-level jobs are going from 45,000K to 60K, while practitioner level jobs are going from 65 up to 95K, and experienced professionals are making 100 to 250K, and even more. I've heard of some jobs in the banking industry that have been as much as 370K. Graduates obviously want to earn the highest salary that they can get, which is reasonable. Everybody wants to earn more money. We have families and goals in life that we want to achieve, and the only way we can do that is by earning money. So you want to get the skills that employers want to hire and pay you the top dollar for. Organizations want to pay practitioner level skills. So a lot of times, for instance, when graduates come out of university or college, often they get a 30 or 40% cut in salary just because they have no experience, but they have lots of good technical skills. So internships are ideal for this kind of opportunity. Enterprises are paying 65 to 95K. That's kind of a general pay scale around North America. If you have more experience, you can get a better paying job, obviously. Again, knowledge and comprehension, these are the first 2 tiers of skill assessment. This is just general awareness. This is basic amateur level stuff. Application and analysis are the next 2 tiers up. This is where people have experience and they've been doing some of this work for maybe 4 to 10 years. They have some hands-on experience. And then the final 2 stages are synthesis and evaluation. Again, this is a measurement that's used around the globe in universities and colleges. It's actually published in 23 different languages. It's so popular. Internships are going to be the key to success, in my opinion. If you want to fast track an opportunity, if you want to fill voids as an employer, there's approximately 125,000 job shortfall in the US, and I think in Canada alone it's like 250,000 they're looking for. So there's a huge market here for cybersecurity people. If you have any of the following skills or in the following skill groups, then you can jump into this market easily with a little bit of help. Take your current skills. We'll help you with skill assessment, and then you're going to look at the required skills for the job, and we're going to give you basically a skills development plan. That's how we operate. There are really two buckets of skills. So a lot of people have a misconception that cybersecurity requires technical skills, but it actually requires a broad range of skills, and these skills include soft skills, and we'll talk about those a little bit more, and hard skills. Now the hard skills are more the technical side. Soft skills are more operational type side, so front office, and we're going to talk about some of the professions that have those soft skills in a moment. Who's eligible to work in cybersecurity? Well, obviously, software engineers are going to be in demand. There's a lot of applications running on the web that need to be secured and developed securely. Network engineers, big part of the internet is the network. And if you have any networking experience or software engineering experience, it'll be easy for you to jump in on the hard skills. Same with system engineers. Putting all those components together, building cybersecurity applications, this is a key to your success. These technical skills, especially if you have 4 years or more or 10 or above, you're going to demand top dollar for your role in the organization. Who else is eligible? People who are doing analysis work can work as security analysts with a little bit of help in defining what the skills are that you need. Security architects as well are needed, and these are hard and soft skills both combined. So you need to have some technical background and training, but you also need to have some soft skills because you're going to be meeting with people and talking to people and interviewing them and gathering information. Security consultants have both hard and soft skills, and so do chief cybersecurity officers or chief information security officers. They have to talk to the board. They have to be able to translate the technical details of the security program into a high-level discussion point to have with board members or executives. Who else is eligible? People who work in call centers. With a little bit of help, they can get on the cybersecurity bandwagon and participate in the cybersecurity job market. It's huge. Also, project managers. These are key roles. People who know what project management is all about can easily jump into the cybersecurity world. Auditors also need to know about cybersecurity. They need to know about the higher level tiers of the Bloom's taxonomy, for instance, synthesis and evaluation, because auditors will have to tell you if your security program is working properly or not. And then you have program managers. Now these are the people who have been designated the responsibility. Often they're the chief cybersecurity officer or the chief information security officer, but in a lot of organizations, they could be somebody completely different, right? Depending on the size of the organization, you may not have a full-time role to fill any of those oversight or leadership roles. So this responsibility for program management might fall to the VP of information technology or the chief technology officer. Who else is eligible? People who work in security operations center. Obviously, if you're working in a NOC, a network operations center, then you already have some of the skills that are required. These people do not have to have necessarily the technical skills, like the project managers and the analysts. You can have soft skills that will help carry you into the job market on cybersecurity. Security operations center people are designated the responsibility of monitoring various activities, security events, any sort of security incidents that happen. And then often, much like a service desk, they pick up the phone and they call a tier 2 or tier 3 expert who is probably an engineer of some sort, and they do additional investigation and analysis before something happens. The security operations center people can often be the central point of contact during a cybersecurity incident. So they do need to know very broadly what cybersecurity is all about, but they may not have to know about the nuts and bolts of the program. Marketing and sales staff also need to know about cybersecurity because they're the people at the front. They're the people who are selling the appliances and the software that are going to help protect enterprises. And of course, executives and the board of directors, those members of those committees provide the governance and oversight for the respective organization, whether it's in commercial sector or whether it's in the government. So these people obviously need to know. Now, in some states and some provinces, they've made it mandatory that you have a chief information security officer participate in one of these committees to provide that oversight. But that doesn't stop some of the technical people who are already on those committees from learning more about what cybersecurity is all about and how they can manage it within their organization, because they have other priorities. Cybersecurity is not priority one for a lot of organizations unless you build cybersecurity products. So a lot of times they have to help the executive team and the board of directors balance the priorities within the organization while also making them duly aware of the risks that they take for not addressing some risks. Now again, the assessment process is to go through your current skills and plot those. I'm going to show you a very simple way to do this with an Excel spreadsheet. So, oh, by the way, so I developed a skills inventory system, an applicant tracking system, probably about 10 years ago. So I have spent many years analyzing how skills are developed within organizations and people and how they get transferred, but also how we can assess them. Because I'm also an auditor, so often when I'm doing audits, I do check the competency of the people who are executing specific processes within the organization to make sure that they have the skills that are needed in order to do that job. So we look at the current skills and the required skills, we come up with a skills assessment, and then a skills development plan, and then we help them select the course that meets it. So in-house, this might be a custom course designed for a specific group of people within a large organization who already have some core skills, but they need to bridge those and advance into the cybersecurity realm. So there's a lot of people out there with a lot of experience and a lot of technical and soft skills who can jump into the cybersecurity world really easily with a little bit of help. Now, measuring competencies and skills is often done with Bloom's taxonomy. Again, this is how we do it in college and university. This is how we develop curriculum. This is how we develop exams to check the validity of the transfer of that knowledge. And here are some of the ideas, some of the action verbs that we use when we create those sort of tests and evaluations, also the curriculum. Bloom's taxonomy is based on 6 levels. So the first level is knowledge. You have to be aware of what cybersecurity is before you can take any action on it. And the second level is comprehension. So not only do you have to be aware, but you have to actually know what it means in order to be able to take action. Application is the next level, the third level, third of 6. And this is where, so not only do you know about it and you understand it, but you've also been given some tools or some hand-on procedures that you can execute so that you can carry out tasks. The next level up, we're jumping into the higher levels now for analysis. So this is where you can do root cause analysis. So you really do have to understand, this may be more technical, this may be more applicable to engineers or subject matter experts who understand what cybersecurity is, how it works, how you've set up your infrastructure, what kind of security tools you have in your organization, and how they can be leveraged. But in order to do root cause analysis, you have to understand all of this in order to be able to reverse engineer it or troubleshoot it, or if you get hacked, find out what was touched within your organization. Level 5, synthesis. So this is where the architects and the engineers also collaborate in order to build and to refine the process of building your infrastructure and your cybersecurity posture. A defense in depth is always the best approach, but in order to build those layers, you really need to understand what are the assets that the company has already invested in and how you can leverage those and where there might be gaps within those that need some more attention. So doing risk assessments, not just doing the evaluation and root cause analysis, but doing risk assessments and prioritizing what needs to be addressed, maybe building a roadmap, for instance, for the organization, doing some budgeting, some analysis on the resources that will be required. So some of those soft project management skills as well would be helpful in this area. And level 6 is the highest level. So this is evaluation, and this is where you could actually work as an auditor or an architect. So you can design a security program based on both technology and soft skills, so hard skills and soft skills together, infrastructure together with software and people in order to make the program work. But you can also evaluate the process to determine where the gaps are. Now, how do we go about doing an assessment of cybersecurity skills? Well, we built a spreadsheet. So we set up a list of the current skills that you might have, and then we evaluate those using the Bloom's taxonomy, so that scale of 1 to 6. So we'll ask some specific questions on what are your skills today, what do you have? So that column that says skill description, that would reflect what your current job is, and then we would project it from there. The target skills are where you need to be in order to maybe achieve that dream job or that job that you're going for, that you want to get more money on. It looks like this when it's completed, and then we might add some comments or stuff. So this is something that you can do on your own. This is not a software tool. This is just a simple spreadsheet. We do have software tools that do this type of evaluation, but I'm trying to give you a hands-on approach that you can do on your own, or maybe with a little bit of help from me. Some of the questions that we'll ask around the different levels are, for instance, a question around knowledge. Are you aware of the subject? So for instance, are you aware of cybersecurity? If there's something more granular, more specific, we would modify the question to say, are you aware of firewalls? Or are you aware of access control? Things like that. Do you understand it is level 2, basically, comprehension. Can you explain what access control is or a firewall? Or can you explain what cybersecurity is simply? Application is, well, do you know how to operate a firewall? Do you know how to make changes to the firewall rules, for instance? Those would be the more the technical questions. But the soft skills might be, okay, so we need to implement a project that's going to upgrade our current cybersecurity posture from a level 1 to a level 4. So how do we do that? So here are the steps. So you would sit down with the subject matter experts and you would build basically a Gantt chart or a step-by-step task procedure list that would lead you that way. So being able to apply project management skills within the cybersecurity context. Analysis is where you can actually, again, do root cause analysis. A question would be, how would you perform root cause analysis against related issues? So that's an important question to ask. You would need to be able to understand it before you could explain it. So if you ask somebody this question and they can't answer it, then you know that the competency level is not where it needs to be. If you ask yourself that question and then you say, well, how do I get there? Right? Now you're already looking at the skills gap, and you're going to determine what are the skills that you need in order to get into that role or that job that you want. Level 5, synthesis. How would you apply lessons learned to redesign an approach, for instance? So at the end of every procedure or exercise or every security incident or event, there should be what they call in quality management world, a feedback loop. And that's where you take the knowledge or the lessons that you've learned from that, executing that process, and you reincorporate it at the beginning of the process to modify it, to make it better. So if you continuously do this on a regular basis, it's called continual improvement, and you harden and improve your processes over a period of time until you get to maybe a point where you feel like it's nirvana. But to be honest with you, lessons learned is an ongoing thing that never ends. It's continually. So how would you perform root cause analysis, and what would you learn from that? How would you take those lessons and redesign the approach is synthesis. And evaluation is simply, how do you assess the effectiveness of the applied strategy? So if you've created a security architecture and you've implemented it and you've just had a breach, then how do you fix that? Or let's say you've had some inquiries and you've determined that there may be an opportunity to bolster a certain area where maybe the assets are of higher value, such as patents or strategic and tactical planning or finance. How do you do that, right? So evaluation is where you can actually look at the process, the architecture, for instance, and make some decisions about where your risks are. And again, before you get to this point, you would have already learned things like governance and risk management and continual improvement and some of the other areas. You'd also learn how to work with subject matter experts and other types of engineers in order to pull that information. And then you would also have learned, how do I communicate this information out to the staff in order to improve our security posture to help them? So how can we help? Well, my business is Secure Knowledge Management, and we provide a number of services. So if you go to our website, you'll see that we can help you to learn and certify. So you can take training with us, and we can certify that you've learned that knowledge, you've taken that knowledge and applied it. We have high quality training materials. We include exercises, hands-on, to get you up to speed so that you can be certified to either go out after that job that you've always wanted, or maybe it's within the organization and you want to take on a new role. We can also help the people who like to do things themselves. So maybe they already have some cybersecurity knowledge and information, and they want to be able to apply it. So we can help them boost up their skill set, and we can also provide them with the materials that they need in order to do that. So for instance, if they need policies, procedures, or practices created, then we can help them with that. If they need help developing architecture or doing evaluations or due diligence, we can help them with that. If you have a supply chain and you need someone to help you with the evaluation of that supply chain, we can also do that as well. There's a lot of things that we can do. Some people decide that they don't have those skills in-house and that they need help otherwise. And that's where we can help out in this area. So if you want to seek expertise, so it's possible that you need us to come in and provide some consulting services in order to help you to develop your plan, your project plan, in order to help you present that to the management team and get acceptance for your budget. Then we can help in that area. Or perhaps you've just had a breach and you need someone to help you shut down that breach and resolve any of the risks and also do the cleanup. So we can also do things like that. And outsource, this is where a lot of times when you don't have the skills and you don't have the time, maybe you're a small company, that you want to hire a subscription service or put a chief cybersecurity officer or a chief information security officer on a retainer, so that when you do have questions from the board or from any external inquiries such as investors or regulators, that you have someone who's on the hotline, on the dial pad, that you can get a hold of quickly and who can represent your organization. So they have a feeling already for your organization. They've been indoctrined with your organization, whether it's in government or whether it's in the commercial sector. But they're the kind of people who can actually help you answer the questions in a way that's not going to lead to more questions, right? So that's the key. That's the difference with working with experienced people versus non-experienced people, right? Is that we can help you shut down questions and we can help you resolve questions and be more efficient and effective that way, because it doesn't just work for your organization, but it also works for the people who are making the inquiry, because they want a straight answer. They don't want somebody to give them a fluffy answer, because then they'll just have to come back and ask more questions until they get to the truth. So we can help with that. Also, if you have a project, you want a cybersecurity program implemented and you don't know how to do this, then that's also where we can help. So you can give us a call and we'll meet with you and discuss with you and come up with a strategy and a proposal, and you won't be disappointed. We've done this many, many, many times. You can reach us at this website. This is our website, Secure Knowledge Management, or securekm.com. And I want to thank you today for your time. I do seminars as well with a couple of my strategic partners in the US and in Canada. So if you want me to come in and provide training or any sort of assistance with your cybersecurity program, I'd be happy to. My name is Mark Edward Sterling Bernard, and you can reach me at this phone number. This is my mobile number, or you can drop me an email line at this email address. Thank you again for your time, and good luck with your security program. Cheers.